Welcome dear students to CSE tutorial. In this video, you are going to learn the NCERT question answers of your class 8th chapter Weavers, Iron Smelters and Factory Owners. First question is, what kind of cloth had a large market in Europe? Its answer is cotton and silk had a large market in Europe. Different varieties of Indian textiles were sold in European markets like chintz, कोसियास जिसको खासा भी कहा जाता था, bandanna, jamdani. These were few Indian textiles which were sold in European markets. Second question is, what is jamdani? Its answer is, jamdani is a fine muslin on which decorative motifs are woven on the loom, typically in grey and white. Third question is, what is bandanna? Its answer is, bandanna is a brightly colored and printed scarf for neck and head. This word was derived from the word bandhan. It referred to a variety of brightly colored cloth produced through method of tying and dyeing. बंदना जो शब्द है वो हिंदी के बंधन से लिया गया है। ये एक ऐसा कलरफुल सा कपड़ा होता था, चुनरी होती थी जिसको गले या सिर पे बांधा जाता था, स्कार्फ जैसे होता है। फोर्थ क्वेश्चन इज, हु आर द अगारियास? इट्स आंसर इज अ ग्रुप of men and women forming a community of iron smelters is called Agarias. Fifth question is, fill in the blanks. Its first is, the word chintz come from the word dash. Second is, Tipu's sword was made of dash steel. Third is, India's textile exports declined in the dash century. So the first is the chintz and second is woods and third is 19th. Chintz word जो है वो हिंदी के चिंट वर्ड से आया है। टीपू सुल्तान की जो तलवार थी वो वुड स्टील से बनी थी और जो इंडियन टेक्सटाइल एक्सपोर्ट था वो 19वीं शताब्दी यानी कि 19th सेंचुरी के बाद से डिक्लाइन होना स्टार्ट हो गया था। Sixth question is, how do the names of different textiles tell us about their histories? Its answer is A. Muslin cloth, that is European traders first saw the fine cotton cloth from India in Mosul in present-day Iraq. They refer to a finely woven textiles as muslin. B. Chintz, this name is derived from a Hindi name called chint, which is a small piece of cloth with the floral designs. C. Calico, Portuguese first came to India in search of spices and landed in Calicut on the Kerala coast in southwest India. They took back cotton textiles to Europe along with the spices. They named it calico. Subsequently, calico became the general name for all cotton textiles. D. Bandana. The term was derived from the Hindi word bandhan. It is a scarf with prints. It is made for head or neck. Question number 7. Why did the wool and silk producers in England protest against the import of Indian textiles in the early 19th century? Its answer is, textile industry had just begun to develop in England in the early 18th century. The wool and silk producers in England found themselves unable to compete with Indian textiles. They wanted to secure the market within the country by preventing the entry of Indian textiles. Therefore, they protested against its import. 18th सेंचुरी के अंदर क्योंकि वूल और सिल्क प्रोड्यूसर्स जो इंग्लैंड में थे वो कम्पीट नहीं कर पा रहे थे इंडियन टेक्सटाइल के साथ में और इसीलिए इंग्लैंड की मार्केट में खुद को सिक्योर करने के लिए उन्होंने इंडियन टेक्सटाइल पे इंपोर्ट जो था उसके खिलाफ प्रोटेस्ट करना स्टार्ट कर दिया। 8th क्वेश्चन इज, How did the development of cotton industries in Britain affect textile producers in India? Its answer is, first, Indian textiles faced competition from British textiles in the European and American markets. Second, export of textiles to England became more and more difficult because the British government imposed very high duties on Indian textiles. Third, in the beginning of the 19th century, cotton textiles made in Britain successfully ousted Indian goods from their traditional markets in Africa, America, and Europe. Fourth is, thousands of weavers in India were now thrown out of employment. Fifth, by the 1830s, British cotton cloth flooded Indian markets. Actually, by the 1880s, 67% of all the cotton clothes worn by Indians were made of cloth produced in Britain. This affected not only specialist weavers but also spinners. Sixth is, thousands of rural spinner women were rendered jobless. जो इंडियन टेक्सटाइल्स थी उसको ब्रिटिश टेक्सटाइल से बहुत ही ज़्यादा टफ कंपटीशन मिल रहा था। इंग्लैंड में एक्सपोर्ट करना जो था वो धीरे धीरे मुश्किल होता जा रहा था क्योंकि जो ब्रिटिश गवर्नमेंट थी उन्होंने बहुत ही ज़्यादा हैवी ड्यूटी टैक्सेस जो थे वो इंडियन टेक्सटाइल पे इम्पोज कर दिए थे, लगा दिए थे। 19वीं शताब्दी में ब्रिटेन के टेक्सटाइल्स ने भारतीय जो गुड्स थे, भारतीय टेक्सटाइल्स थी, उसको अफ्रीका, अमेरिका और यूरोप की मार्केट से बिल्कुल बाहर कर दिया था, जिसके कारण कई सारे इंडियन वीवर्स जो थे वो जॉबलेस हो गए, उनकी एम्प्लॉयमेंट चली गई। 1930 के अंदर ब्रिटिश कॉटन जो थी वो इंडियन मार्केट में आई और 50 साल के अंदर ही लगभग 67% इंडियंस जो थे वो ब्रिटिश कॉटन के क्लोथ ही पहन रहे थे, जिसके कारण कई सारी भारतीय ग्रामीण महिलाएं जो थी वो भी जॉबलेस हो गई। 9th क्वेश्चन इज, व्हाई डिड the Indian iron smelting industries declined in the 19th century? Its answer is, there were several reasons. First is, the new forest laws of the colonial government prevented people from entering the reserved forest. Now it became difficult for the iron smelters to find wood for charcoal. Getting iron ore was also a big problem. Hence, many gave up their craft and looked for other jobs. Second is, in some areas, the government did grant access to the forest, but the iron smelters had to pay a very high tax to the forest department for every furnace they used. This reduced their income. Third is, by the late 19th century, iron and steel were being imported from Britain. Ironsmiths in India began using the imported iron to manufacture utensils and implements. This lowered the demand for iron produced by local smelters. 10th question is, what problems did the Indian textiles industry face in the early years of its development? Its answer is, during the early period of its development, the textile industries in India faced many problems. First, in most countries, government supported local manufacturers by imposing heavy duty on imports. This finished the competition and protected their infant industries. The colonial government in India usually refused such protection to local industries. Second, English producers wanted a secure market within the country by preventing the entry of Indian textiles. British government enacted the Calico Act. 11th question is, what helped TISCO expand steel production during the First World War? Its answer is, before the First World War, India imported British steel for rails. When in 1914 the war broke out, steel produced in Britain now had to meet the demands of the war in Europe. So, imports of British steel into India declined and Indian railways turned to TISCO for the supply of rails. As the war dragged for several years, TISCO had to produce shells and carriage wheels for the war. By 1919, the colonial government was buying 90% of the steel manufactured by TISCO. Over time, TISCO became the biggest steel industry within the British Empire. Thanks for watching, dear students. I hope you find this video useful. If you have any doubts or suggestions, write in the comment section. To watch more such helpful videos, subscribe to SSt Tutorials and share this video with your friends. Thanks for watching.